window for what we are going to discuss. That's great. So first of all, obviously, thank you for choosing UK Versity to study this qualification. This session that we're going to do in terms of induction is going to last about anywhere between 35 to 45 minutes, but it can be longer. I'm not too fussed about time, depending on how much time you have. I normally conduct this induction because it's a very detailed session to give you a good overview of what all you are going to encounter and study and go about the study plan and how you would go about actually studying the course with us. So what we're going to do is basically divide this session into three parts. First part of the session is primarily looking at taking you through systems, just to show you, because those are bits and pieces that I can quickly visually show you, and they will be useful for you to understand. And then these systems will allow you to be in touch with any one of the members in the team at any given point in time, 24/7, Monday to Sunday. Then the second part I'm going to cover is a bit of a course overview. I'm also going to discuss what is called assessment and feedback, because we follow a consultative approach. There is no pass and fail. Everybody is going to pass. You're going to make your grades. You're going to pass the course. The reason of doing the course you've shared with me earlier. So everything which is required to be done, we will help you and support you to be able to successfully complete this particular part of the program, and then obviously look at a top up that you're looking at doing maybe later. But we'll go through the process of assessment and feedback, how the assignments are submitted, how the feedback is provided. If there are bits and pieces missing, then how do you go about correcting that, and then resubmit to be able to pass it. And then along with that, what I'm also going to do is introduce key team members. And I will also take any questions, if you have any queries, any questions that you don't, if there are question marks in your mind in regards to anything that we are discussing, just feel free to ask me. And what I'm going to do is, obviously try and provide as much information as possible so that you are confident and you are able to essentially, pretty much get into the course and then successfully study it with us. Now, I'm going to start off with systems. That's the brief agenda. If there are any other queries, questions that you would want to ask, absolutely fine. I'm happy to answer that. And there is no question as a good question or a bad question. Ask me anything that you feel you are uncertain about. Now, let me switch you over to the website, which is where I think we will look at a starting point of most of the things. So what I'm going to do is recommend you to bookmark this site, which is UK Versity's site. And this is more or less the starting point of pretty much access to everything that you would need. Let me expand this slightly. Now, this site, if you click on the lock on the left-hand side and then drag it to your bookmark bar, then it should be available to you as a shortcut on your home bar. And at a click of a button, you should be able to access pretty much everything. Now, the reason why we're looking at this particular part of the website is that you have access to everything from here. And if you have this website and the link available, you can talk to us, you can WhatsApp us, you can email us, you can go onto the learner management system. Everything will happen from here. So this number is a 24 hours out of office number as well. And if you need to reach us urgently, the same number works on WhatsApp. So if I click on this, it'll straight away say, can I open your WhatsApp application? You need to call us. You can call us on this number. If you send an email to admin, this is a monitored mailbox. You get a response pretty much immediately if you send something over. But if not, then maybe 2 hours maximum as a turnaround time. And if you need to go to our learner management system, which is going to be the main system from which you're going to get all the teaching and learning material, this is going to be a shortcut here. So if I click on this and open it in a new tab, what you're going to see is this is also something I'll ask you to bookmark by dragging the lock. And that should mean that if you have this on your phone as a shortcut, on the iPhone or on the Android, you can actually open it up and then save it as a small app on your phone as well. Okay. And that allows you to access the course anywhere in the world that you have access to the internet. So if I click on this shortcut, straight away opens the system. This system is what I'll show you in a bit more detail in a second. Going back to the website, there are obviously some social media channels we are quite we are present on. But one of the things that you would need to get access to time and again would be the YouTube channel that we have. So if you click on the YouTube channel, it should open up, and it's a fairly simple way to go onto our channel. So if you go to youtube.com and just type /UK Versity Online, and that should straight away lead you to our channel. Now here, what I would do is I'm signed in right now, but you would normally see a subscribe button. If you subscribe to it, what happens is that when we upload a new video for strategic management and leadership, the course that you're doing, from that playlist, you will get a quick, email or a announcement saying a new video has been added, and that should allow you to listen into that video, which is going to be a lecture video essentially related to the course that you're studying. So most of the recordings, what we do at some point in time is we will put it onto the YouTube channel because of the fact that it's free. It's a free space where we can use it as for storage. And like a video that I'm doing right now, which is the induction through Zoom, this video at the end of it, we are going to send you a link because this will bloat up to about 1 gigabyte, voice and audio being done along with the screen being shared. So I think it's a free space for us. And that's why we suggest that everybody who's studying with us for the time that you are with us, at least subscribe, and you are able to then get hold of every sort of video or lecture that is required as far as the course is concerned. So when you go into playlists, you can choose the strategic management playlist, and that would have all the videos that we are looking at for the course, and they are what is called refreshed every week. They are refreshed every week. So you're not listening into something which is going to be old, and they are very clearly labeled for the units that you're going to be studying, which are available, for the purposes of going through at your own pace. Now, apart from this, if you need to reach us, if you go down to the footer, we have the college switchboard, which is available, Monday to Friday from 9:30 to 5:30. You can reach us. If you need to see all the policies or anything to do with contacts or people in the team, then if you go on to About Us section, go to the operations team, you're able to see people who are going to be in administration. So there are faces and real people who are available, who are all based here, and you'd be able to speak to them or, obviously get in touch with them as and when required. So we have some of these colleagues who are lecturers as well. And we have a different, profile of all the lecturers, which is on the homepage itself. So that's the admin team, but you would normally also have, lecturers and their profiles available, here. And this is the team which is primarily responsible for teaching, learning, and delivery of your course. Now, going into Moodle, you would have received your login and you were now able to log into your course, correct?
Yes, Raman.
Yeah, okay, that's great. So if you ever forget the username or password, it's a very simple process to reset, which is on the homepage itself. If you scroll down here, it says set up Moodle on your tablet / smartphone and how to reset your Moodle password. So these two videos we put outside, which anybody can access because of the fact that if sometimes we forget our username and password, we can just click on and watch this short video in terms to understand how this password reset can be done. Password reset is pretty simple to do. Sometimes you might have to clear your cookies or, also look at if you save a lot of passwords that normally most of us do nowadays on the browser. Sometimes if you have multiple people logging in and multiple usernames, sometimes the browser does not like it. And that is where you might have to go in and clear your cache to be able to reset your password. But the process is very simple. If I click on this particular option, forget username and password, either I put my username or my email address, not both. And it straight away sends you a link into your email to say that, okay, this is your username and this is the temporary password. Or if you click on that link, it will take you back to the system. So it's an automated process from the system itself. And it should not take more than 20 seconds, 30 seconds to reset your password. You can't change your username. It is just the password that you're able to change. Now, if you have to set it up on your phone, what phone do you use? Is it an iPhone or an Android?
It's Android.
Okay. So on the Android, if you go to Google Play and you go to the Google Market, essentially what you have to do is download a particular app called Moodle, and it is developed by the company Moodle itself. There are lots of third-party apps, but my suggestion would be to download the Moodle app. And once you download, it's a free application. it takes about 30 seconds for you to set this up on your phone. You would need three things to be able to do so. One would be, it'll ask you where is the Moodle installed, which is basically the web address or the URL. Second thing it'll ask you is your username. And the third thing it'll ask you for its will be your password. So once you put the username and the URL and the password, that should detect that this is Moodle with UK Versity, and with your username and password being put in, you can save your credentials. And because it's an app on your phone, you don't need to re-log into this app again and again. And what that will do is basically make available the entire course to you, books, presentation, handouts, everything to you on your phone or your smart device. The only thing would be that it's a small screen, so obviously it will be responsive. It will adapt to everything that is being shown in the in the Moodle, but obviously in a smaller screen space. Now, the advantage for us and why we ask you, this is optional. You don't need to 100% download the app, but this is optional. The reason I suggest that you should probably look at doing this is because on the smartphone, what we have is push notifications enabled. And because the push notifications are enabled, that allows us to essentially send you subtle notifications through your phone. Maybe a reminder, maybe messages, and you're able to see the global calendar, which is primarily the calendar on our website. And I'll show you that in a second as well. So that makes it easier for us to essentially look at, pushing announcements or any sort of, urgent messaging to you if required, from the system. And that app allows you to, have full access to the teaching and learning material as you would normally have on a PC or a laptop. So that's the app and the setup, and it should not take more than 30-35 seconds for you to be able to set it up on your, let's say, a smartphone. So these are the three things required: the URL, the username, and the password. Now, I'll briefly show you the system and I'll switch you back. The reason is because you need to understand how the teaching and learning material is organized, and you should be able to understand and get full access to it while you are actually studying the course with us. So if I log into the system, there are two ways of finding your course. One would be when I've logged in as an administrator today. So I see a lot of courses here. But in your case, you would just see one course, which is the OTHM Level 7 Diploma in Management and Leadership. You click into the course, you will get into the course. The other way would be go from the business category on the top and then choose your course, which is the last option.
Okay.
So when you are in the course, you are going to see a couple of things. See a couple of things. They would mean that this is the section that we are going to be discussing today, which is a part of the induction. So we go through course overview, we look at Harvard referencing, a bit of command verbs, what makes a good assignment, feedback form, and some of the quality policies, just to give you some signposting that they are available should you need to use them. This is an example of the course induction which has been done. So it should be something similar to that what I'm doing right now, but you should watch this. And then the second part of the system when you access the course is basically the modules that you're going to study. Now, there are some modules which are hidden because they are old and we've revised the content of it. So you are going to read into and, essentially access everything which is up to date as of yesterday. Now, when we look at strategic management, leadership, human resource management, research methods, financial management, and strategic marketing, these are the units that you're looking at studying. There are 6 modules in your course. Now, when you see this, it does not mean that you do not have any content in it. When you click on the unit, it will take you into the unit content, and that is where you're going to see all the teaching and learning material organized. Now, the organization of how the material is in the Moodle is exactly the same across all the units. So there are going to be 3 or 4 types of documents that you will see. Most of the documents are going to be PDF because they are version controlled. They are awarding body documents. They don't change that often. There are some documents which are cloud documents, which are recordings of the sessions, and they, when you click, will actually open up on a new screen, and they would essentially be video recordings of the lecture that have been conducted and the lecturer is delivering it. So here you'll be able to see the slide, plus also see the lecturer discussing and talking about, the learning outcome. Then you would have some Microsoft Office documents. In some cases, these Office documents are essentially going to be useful because they are templates, and we would want you to download them so that if you need to use them for assignment or any sort of, let's say, activity, they can be used, and that is why they're provided as Word documents. And in some cases, you'll have spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations depending on the unit and the content that you're referring. Now, how the layout is, sometimes when you see the unit itself, the unit itself will have lots of details related to the course or the content that you're studying. So if I talk about strategic management, normally the unit is broken down into what is called, learning outcomes. So LOs are essentially learning outcomes. There are 5 learning outcomes in this unit. So that is why up to LO1 to LO5. And under each LOs, you'll have either case studies, recordings, some handouts, which are pertinent to that particular learning outcome. So when I click
Can you repeat this again, Raman? Sorry.
Sure. So when we look at the unit and how it is set up, let me go back to the unit. So if I click on the unit and if I go back into that unit, what you're going to see is the unit structure is set up in a particular way. And that unit structure typically looks at starting with maybe the unit specification on the top, which basically tells us what is to be taught in this unit. This is extracted from the handbook of the awarding body, which basically gives us the course overview. So we are going to teach strategic management as a unit in 5 sessions. Each session will be covering one learning outcome and the assessment criteria which are given here. So when you look at the presentations that we provide, they are labeled normally as LOs, LO1, LO2, LO3, LO4. So if this unit has 5 learning outcomes, as you can see, the unit will have 5 presentations, 5 recorded lectures. There'll be some handout presentation, ebooks, and journals, and they would be basically designed and covering the full correspondence and the content which is required to be covered in the presentation. And this is the content which is going to be covered in the presentations and the sessions that we discussed. I can't just say that I'll teach you this or I'll teach you that, but these are the details that are going to be covered in the content. Now, there are some core textbooks, and these core textbooks are also provided by us in the Moodle itself. So after the unit specification, these are the core textbooks that you can actually open, which are recommended for study for this particular unit. Right? They are usual traditional textbooks that I would buy from the shop, but because it's being delivered through distance learning, everything we have is in the electronic format. Now, these are extensive textbooks, and we will tell you exactly what chapters or what pages sometimes to read in order to read what is related to the indicative content given in the unit specification of the course. So you see, there is this content that we have to study, which is given here, but the book is 800-900 pages, and it has 16 chapters in one of them, and I think 14 chapters in other. But the idea here would be to study certain related aspects of it, because you're not doing you're not going to spend 2-3 years to study this course. You're looking at completing this course in 26 weeks to 32 weeks maximum. And that is where you'll have to do filtered and concentrated reading. But for each unit, the books are integrated, which are recommended books by the awarding body, into the session itself. And then we have learning outcomes divided as or showing as learning outcome 1. Then there'll be a presentation, there'll be a recording for it. If we can't cover certain parts of it in the presentation, then sometimes we provide additional reading material. And this additional reading material would be related to the learning outcome that you are covering in that session. So you have learning outcome 2, some handouts, maybe learning outcome 3, some handouts, 4, some handouts, 5, some handouts. And towards the end, we do one additional session, which is covering how to do the assignment for this unit. So for this unit, we have 5 learning outcomes plus 1. That means this unit will complete it in 6 weeks maximum, because there are going to be 6 sessions, 5 to cover the content and 1 to discuss in detail how to put together the assignment for this unit. Is that okay? And that is how you're going to see the course content being organized in all the units that we go to in the course. So if I go now from strategic management to the next unit, which is say strategic leadership, you have the same way this particular bit would be organized. So you'll start with the unit specification. There'll be an assignment brief. There'll be a book or maybe a couple of books. Like in this case, there are 2 books, then learning outcome 1, then obviously some handouts on leadership types, learning outcome 2, presentation, some handouts 3, so on and so forth. Some units have 4 learning outcomes, some have 5, but depending on the number of learning outcomes, that is how we are going to be looking at organizing the sessions. So strategic leadership, as you can see, has 4 learning outcomes. So there'll be 5 sessions to cover this particular unit. And this unit will complete in about 5 weeks.
Okay.
Is that okay? That is how you'll be able to access the content from the system. And because you paid in full, there is no restriction on any content not being available. Everything is open to you from a point of view of if you want to start reading ahead, and that would allow you to do so at your own pace as well. Okay, any questions on this so far?
No, Raman. Just one thing I want to clear is that, like, for example, we have 5. If you get back to this strategic management part, please.
Yeah. Okay.
The strategic management layout, yeah.
Okay.
We are talking about a leadership. I'm
Yes.
talking about the same way strategic management.
Yeah, every unit is laid out in the same way. So strategic management is also laid out in the same way.
So we need to, go through these LO1, LO2, LO3. What about the assignments? What are the assignments? It didn't come right now, right?
So assignment is available. It will very clearly be mentioned as assignment brief, as you can see here at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is the assignment brief, which is what most learners will attempt once they complete the unit with us. So
okay.
This grid will remain the same as it is given in the unit specification. And as you can see, then there is a task-based scenario given, and that has to be attempted in order to complete this unit. OTHM's beautiful point is that they will tell you in task 1, these are the assessment criteria you're covering. Your output is required as 1 presentation with speaker notes and executive summary, and that would be the criteria. Task 2 is an essay, which is a Word document of 2,500 words, and that will cover all these tasks and these assessment criteria. And task 3 will be a reflective essay about 600 words, and it will cover all these assessment criteria. So at the end of it, when you complete this unit and you send over an assignment to us, it will have 1 PowerPoint presentation. It will have 1 executive summary or a Word document of 400 words, and there'll be a Word document of about 3,100 words, 3,100, which will cover the essay writing and also the reflective essay. So 2 outputs essentially, 1 PowerPoint presentation and 1 Word document, which is roughly about 3,500 words, 3,500.
Okay.
Is that okay? So this now in the assignment brief, if you want to look at, we have also provided a sample assignment. How would a sample assignment look like if you were to submit this as a student? Right. So what we've done is we've also provided a sample assignment which somebody would have submitted a few years or a few months back, just as a random, so that you are able to see how the assignment would look like when it is submitted. Because let's face it, for some of us it is back to school after a number of years and we haven't done assignment writing. So as most universities do, we also do provide you a sample hour to look at in terms of understanding how the assignment has to be submitted, whether it's a Word document or a PowerPoint document, and how long it has to be, what it covers, how it covers the assessment criteria, and everything for you to get a bit of confidence and look and feel of how the assignments are for this particular unit.
So can you go down, Raman, please?
Yeah.
So this is strategic management assignment. It is assignment of LO1 or complete assignment? Complete.
You have 1 unit. Good question. So for every unit, you have 1 assignment. There is no parts assignment. For total course, you're studying 6 units. Each unit is 120 credits. So if I just open the course handbook as well, this is the course handbook. As you would go into this summary page here. So for example, that's the name of the qualification which will come up on your diploma, and I'll show you that. This is the off-call qualification number, which is the approved qualification number. So if I type this number and when WES looks at it, or when they go to the off-call website, they are going to see this particular code, which is the reference that it's a internationally valid qualified qualification. So if I go to off-call register, and if I want to find, for example, a regulated qualification, and if I just type this number here and press enter, you would see that this qualification comes up. It is an approved qualification. It is available. It is in context. And this is internationally available to anybody. So internationally valid. If it was to say no here, that means your WES qualification accreditation wouldn't happen. And this is valid till 2029.
Okay.
Okay. So regarding the course overview, the idea is to understand the course. When you fill your form in for WES, that's the qualification name and the number that you will fill. It is a 1-year qualification. Obviously, the minimum time frame is not, in terms of mentioned, but generally all qualifications of 120 credits are 1 academic year. There is no grading in this qualification. It's only pass and fail. Obviously, we'll not let you fail. You'll pass. And obviously, language of assessment and delivery is English. Now, these are the units that you're expected to cover. So there are 4 mandatory units. Because you're looking at doing a top-up MBA as well, so what we are going to do is teach you the 2 optional units which are mapped with the MBA program in most universities. And that is where we look at strategic financial management and strategic marketing. You can do other units as well, like entrepreneurship, globalization, change management, operations management. But unfortunately, what will happen is when we present your diploma or you present your diploma to the university to go and do a top-up MBA, instead of just the dissertation, they will ask you to do additional module because MBA is basically Master of Business Administration. That means you're jack of all trade. So you have to study HRM, finance, marketing, leadership, management, and research. So if these one of the module is missing, then they will not give you exception. So that's why on your system in Moodle, we have configured these 6 units, which are 4 of these mandatory. We can't change. Everybody has to study. And from the optional, we have chosen because you're looking at doing an MBA. So it will be strategic marketing and strategic financial management.
Okay.
Now, when you look at each of these units, there are 6 units you're going to study. So there are 6 assignments that you are going to do, and there'll be 1 assignment per unit.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when you look at
per unit means, for example, strategic management is a 1 unit, right?
Strategic management 1 unit, strategic leadership is 1 unit. Strategic
like all in strategic management, there is L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, L6. So
that
all have
total 1 assignment. Because the reason of dividing the unit into chunks is called learning outcomes. Because we can't teach you the whole unit in 1 lecture. It is not like a 15-16 hour lecture that I take you through everything. So what the awarding body does is it breaks the course content down into what are called palatable chunks. And those are called learning outcomes. So learning outcomes are the bits on which the unit is divided. And that allows lecturers like us, tutors, teachers like us, to be able to teach those chunks in on the basis of learning outcome and the indicative content which is given. So if I just scroll down and go to the unit here, if you see this is strategic management, this is learning outcome 1, and these are the bits that we are going to cover in learning outcome 1.
Okay.
Is that okay? So this allows you to study, everything in a concise, filtered manner, and we keep the learning focused on what the learning outcome is asking you to study and learn or gain skills on.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Now, there is no, as I mentioned to you, mandatory requirement, in terms of grading because the qualification isn't graded. And at some stage, what we'll also do is be looking at checking the work that is submitted through a plagiarism scanner. And that would mean that when we check that work, we are going to look at 20% similarity, which could be allowed. But anything over and above that would be treated as plagiarism or, something that you have copied and pasted without referencing. And that would need to be changed or paraphrased if that is to happen. Progression-wise, this qualification, as I mentioned earlier, when you had spoken to me, you are specifically looking at doing an MBA. So this qualification takes you to an MBA essentially, and that is where it is important that you look at studying strategic management as against project management or financial management and accounting, because all of them will take you to corresponding degree courses for the purposes of achieving a degree. Now, while we are here, what I will also do very briefly is to show you an example, diploma of how you would essentially, get it. So basically OTHM and, a lot of universities have started to now offer what are called digital certifications. And the reason why this is happening is that they want to do away with piracy, forgery of certifications and things like that. So when you get your qualification and at some stage when the certification happens, what will happen is that you will get a login from OTHM. And that login will be login for life. So that this kind of login that you are going to get, and this login will allow you to get access to your certification, access to the, if you want a printed copy of it, you can order a print from here. If you want to send it to WES for verification, you will place a request here. If you want to send it to an employer, that will be done here. Everything will happen from this portal, and this will be a link and a, let's say, a username and password or logins will be issued for life. Now, I have one diploma open on my phone, on my screen. If I scan the QR code, which is on the diploma certificate, what will happen is that if I scan this, what you will do is you will see that it will take you to the OTHM's website, and OTHM's website will verify that this particular diploma is genuine. As you can see,
just one thing, can you make this diploma on the bigger screen, because it is, smaller, I cannot see. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Give me 1 second. So there are two parts to it. The first part will be your diploma, certificate, which mentions the name, the center name, on what date it was awarded, your date of birth, and all those things. And the second part will be your transcript, which is basically mentioning the units that you have studied and covered in the diploma. So it's a 2-page thing. Okay. Now, this can be verified by scanning this barcode. So what I did was I kind of, scanned this.
Yeah.
Show it to you.
I saw it.
Straight away went to the OTHM's website, and that allows the verification to happen. And this is a mandatory thing which every awarding body has to do, simply because the government's digital database initiative means that all awarding bodies will have to start complying and having that as a compliance by 2025, and that is HEDD. So it is not something that we will not send you a diploma or whatever, but this is a part and initiative of the higher education digital database, and anything can be verified or checked, and there are so many institutions on it with regards to all universities and awarding bodies. So let's look at a couple of things with regards to with regards to the course as well. So let me just quickly shift you over to 1 second for just recapping in terms of what we have covered so far. So systems wise, you're using Zoom. I don't need to demonstrate anything on Zoom. This is a system wherein you will get the link and you'll click on the link and you should be able to then join the session with the lecturer. All the sessions are recorded. You'll get a copy of the recording after the session is over from Amandeep, who's one of my colleagues, and he's also on the session. And then it allows you to seamlessly, follow the course with us. If you're not able to attend the live sessions, not a problem. The recordings are made available and they replace the older recordings on the system. If you have any problems with regards to, systems, for example, you're not able to see anything or you're not able to, get anything, the email to send that across would be admin@UK-Versity, because somebody will be able to pick it up and straight away respond back to you so that you're not held up as far as the system is concerned. Now, we are not.
Raman, I would like to ask this one question here. How I would know that the section is live? Like how?
Okay, very good question again. So let me show you one email which you are also going to get, for these sessions, and that is a good question that you asked. Let me just show you one example. So what we do is we plan these sessions 4 to 6 weeks in advance. Okay. So today you're doing the induction with us. You'll be attending your first session tomorrow. How would you get the invites and the details of the session and how you're going to start attending them? This is how I will show you that you are going to do that. So there's a colleague of mine called Jill, and she will send you one email, which will be a full notification of how this unit is going to be delivered, what are the sessions planned, what are the links to the sessions, on what date they are, what time they are. And this is just an example I'm showing you. This is not
Okay.
course,
Okay.
but this is how you get the email from her, and that will give you everything that you need to know with regards to what session. So for example, this is one session for a different course like Diploma in Law. The unit is Learning Outcome 1, time, date, and that's the link with the username and password. You need to log in and you should be able to get into the session straight away.
So if I miss the session, how can I go through to the recording?
Okay, so what tends to generally happen after the session is over, the recordings are uploaded to YouTube. And what will happen is, that is again a good question that you asked, and let me shift you back to the screen. So what will happen is, say for example, you attended strategic management sessions. So at some stage, what has happened is that you have missed out on the session. And here, what we are going to do is send you the session recording links. So if I say 1 second, let me show you. So what will essentially happen is, again, showing you a quick email. Basically, what you are going to do is put a quick message out to one of my colleagues, Aman. And what he's going to then do is send you an email like this, which will say that was for session 1, this was for session 2, and that's the recording link. So when you click on that link, it'll straight away open the recording and you should be able to see the session. Okay. Is that okay? But generally what we do also is, after the session is over, I'm going to add you now to the OTHM group as well on WhatsApp. And that group that we add you on is a common group of all the learners who are actually studying this qualification. So normally what happens is, after the session has been done, in a couple of minutes, or maybe if it's happened on a weekend, maybe then on a Monday, what will happen is the course coordinator will actually paste a link into the WhatsApp saying, for those of you who missed the session, then kindly, click on this to view the recording.
Raman, during this live session of Zoom,
yes,
there's a QA session, or just it is like a professor is giving a lecture? What it is?
No, it's an interactive session. Like you're able to ask me questions and you're able to discuss. It's a similar session like this.
Okay.
The reason of joining the live lectures is essentially to help you to interact with the lecturer, discuss questions or queries. And sometimes what we also recommend in most cases, the learners to do is to read the presentation proactively beforehand. And that should allow you to then participate, in the sessions by asking questions related to learning outcomes if you're not able to understand anything. And that is why the sessions are interactive. Is that okay? So I've just added you to the WhatsApp group as well. And that WhatsApp group now ensures that you're able to get any announcements that we do with regards to the sessions, the session invites, or anything to do with the course and the unit. We will place some important announcements on this group, and you'll be continuing to get that announcement, as the course progresses.
Yeah, they have added me. Yeah, I'm in the group now.
Okay. Yeah. Now, if I just briefly go back to what we are, covering with regards to the discussion. So basically, systems we have covered, course overview, I have given you a bit of an idea. You've asked me 1 or 2 questions, so I'll basically jump here and then go to assessment and feedback. So for example, if you need any recordings of the sessions, or if you missed any sessions, then what you're going to do is email Amandeep, who's my colleague, and he's one of the administrators, and he will basically send the session links to you on the email, apart from, if you have not been able to find them on Moodle or, essentially say YouTube, but he will send them to you so that you have it on your email for your records. Now, in order for you to write to somebody in UK Versity, it is very simple. We have the first name followed by ukversity.co.uk. So you don't need to worry about whose name, what email. So if you have to write to me, it will be Raman, if you have to write to, for example, Anjum, who's one of the tutors, Anjum Satar. So you have to write, you write to Anjum. If you have to write to Sanjay, you have to write to Shazia, Yasir, Zafar, all will be first name followed by, or if you need to write to Jill, for example, she's the course coordinator and she's the one which does the scheduling of sessions. So you have that in advance. So you write to Jill, and at some stage, if you need anything related to, say, a completion letter or academic, reference, that will all go to Amandeep.
Okay.
Okay, so there are different people in the team because you paid the fees in full. So obviously you don't have any, probably you'll not get any email from Upendra or Hita, which are in finance. Your certification part of it is looked after by Amrita. She is the examination officer of League Registrar. And then Philip is the quality manager. So he will obviously look at the work and it's moderated and it's then presented to OTHM for the purposes of certification. So all the people that you have to write to is the first name. His name is Philip, but his email address is Phil. So you would have different emails coming from different people over the course of time, and they will all be related to, helping you to complete and achieve the qualification. So these are going to be the key team members as far as, the course is concerned. These are tutors who are going to be teaching different units. So you're not going to be taught by one person in particular. Each of us teach the specific unit that we are specialist in. And then in administration, we have 3-4 people who are basically involved. So course administration or course coordination is Jill. With regards to your course coordination, you also have Amandeep. And then in general administration, I have Harjinder. So obviously, if related to anything that has to be dispatched, sent across to you, you need a particular email. These are other colleagues in different areas. Is that okay? This is just for reference purposes, and obviously, I think main interaction that you'll probably have in terms of your studying with us will be 3 email addresses that you'll need to have. One is learnerwork@UK Versity. This is the email wherein you submit assignments. So all the assignments, when they are available, you're going to submit them. You get an acknowledgement receipt to say your work has been received, and you get then feedback in terms of marking and checking an assessment within 3 to 4 working days to say that you passed this unit, and you will keep that, and I'll show you for your records as well. The second person that you'll probably be getting lots of emails from is Jill, and she, because will send you emails for the sessions and relation to session invites, and obviously anything related to your units and course, you'll probably get that from Jill. And then Aman, who's going to be Amandeep or Aman essentially, because if you need anything related to the recordings or in terms of sessions, if you've missed, then if you need anything related to that, you'll probably get that from Aman. When the assignments are submitted and the assignments are marked by the coordinator, different lecturers who've taught the unit, and then they have to be sent back to you, you will get them back from Aman, because he keeps a track of your progress as well in terms of, the course. How, are you doing in terms of completion for your course? And because you're on a fast track, so we clearly know that some of the learners, I have 2 other learners, which are essentially on a fast track, and we will keep particularly track of your progress to ensure that units are delivered on time, assignments are submitted on time, they're marked in 2 or 3 working days, and then you're moving towards certification process in the time frame that we've discussed, say 3.5, 4 months, maximum 3.5, 4 months, and you should be able to do that. So all that bit is going to be done by Aman. Now, any questions on this so far?
Yes, Raman, just one point. As you told that, okay, it is that COBIC is quite big. So you told me that you need to read some of the parts of it. So who will gonna tell me exactly what are the parts?
So that is what I'll come to in a bit, because what we'll do is basically do a discussion on a bit of a study plan, days and times in terms of what we are going to look at, suggesting you that you should look into for the purposes of prepping and then obviously getting into the course itself. So let me bring you back to the course also. Now, 2 things which I want to mention here, and I want to get some idea from you with regards to the course part of it. What are the 2 ideal days and times that you are able to attend these live sessions with us?
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. Okay, let me make a note of this. Friday and Saturday. And times wise, what would be the timings?
Maybe afternoon is perfect.
So in terms of you are based in Riyadh.
So let's say 2 is good time for me. 2 p.m. So here your time is 12 p.m. 12 p.m.
As of now, it's just about coming to 2 p.m. and yours is 4 p.m. So there's a time difference of 2 hours between Riyadh and UK. So if you look at time-wise, I think most lectures that we are going to be able to do, especially on Fridays and Saturdays, we normally do them at 3 p.m. or they are normally done, after 6 p.m.
Fine for me.
Friday. Saturday, I think so. If I just put it this way, Friday, because this is what I'll share with, my colleagues as well. And then Saturday we do sessions at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m.
Fine.
Right. So these would be the times that we are going to look at. Now, going back to, a study plan. So what we are looking at is, apart from the lectures that you take with us, what our suggestion to you for the course requirements would be to study at least, keep aside of at least 2 to 3 hours per week. Okay. Because what tends to happen is that if you do 2 lectures with us, one on Friday, one on Saturday, or one on Saturday, sometimes we do lectures, on Sunday as well. For this program, mostly because I think Middle East, now UAE has changed, and mostly they have now
UAE is Sunday, UAE Sunday off.
Sunday off. Earlier it should be Friday, Saturday. So I think in Saudi it's still probably the same. So we do sometimes lectures on Sunday as well. And Sunday the timings are again 10 and 2 p.m. So if you do these lectures and you miss out on any, then what we are going to suggest is that if you study, say, 2 hours with us with lectures a week, because you take lectures, and then you keep 2 to 3 hours aside to do a bit of self-study, that would be good enough to get a good grasp on what is being taught and covered in that unit. Our presentations, this is something which I mentioned. Our presentations are very detailed. They are not the usual bits that we learn in, corporate world, that not more than 3 bullet points on a slide, not more than 30 words. Because we know that all the learners that we have are working, have family, kids, and other commitments. Most of the course content and the content material with regards to knowledge, you are going to get presentations. And that is why these presentations are very detailed. They are made from the books that we have. And these presentations, these details are going to give you more than 70 to 80% of the knowledge required to cover the module. Now, anything which has got left out would mean you go through some of the handouts that we've provided for the corresponding learning outcome. And they are also very filtered handouts, like 3, 4, 5 pages or 10 pages. And they are going to give you, and they are not just any handouts created by anybody. They are from journals, recognized peer-reviewed journals or articles, which are normally coming in from, various industry-based journals. And if you study these, that will help you understand the concept to the T. That means you'll not leave out anything. And that is where the 2 to 3 hours are required to study additionally, apart from going through some of the bits that we are providing.
Okay.
Is that okay? So if in short, to answer your question in terms of how would you study, you're going to attend 2 sessions with us every week. Apart from that, I'm going to suggest 2 to 3 hours of self-study, and that would be looking at going through the handouts which are given underneath the learning outcomes and their presentations. So if you listen into a recording, that recording would cover the presentation and the lecturer actually delivering the knowledge which is required to be studied by, gained by studying the learning outcome and its indicative content.
Just one thing, Raman, what's the difference between these LO1 recording and the lecture, the live lecture? It would be the same. It will be on top of that. What it is?
No, it's the same. Well, how I would put it this way is, when you listen into the recording, you're actually listening into the lecture, and the lecturer is taking you through the presentation slides as well.
Okay.
You don't need to go through the slides later. Sometimes what will happen is that, you've gone through the lecture. This lecture is 1 hour, 11 minutes, for example. And if you feel that, I still need to read it myself, then what I would suggest is you go back and then you open the presentation.
Okay.
And then read through it.
Okay.
And that is the bit which is why they are given separately.
Okay.
But otherwise, what I would suggest
my
is,
point is that LO1 recording is done, right? So
yes.
now there are weekly or weekly live lectures as well. So what is the purpose of this weekly lectures, because the lecture is already given there?
Yeah, but what happens is sometimes we will not have strategic management being delivered by a lecture. We'll have somebody else delivering it. So you get a bit more different perspective. So it is not that. So let me address your question in two ways. One is, okay, why are the recordings there? Recordings are there because I have learners in this course. There are 21 learners in this course as of now. Some of them are studying at their own pace. So they don't attend live lectures. They only go through the recorded material.
Okay.
So that is why the recordings are there. The flip side of this, why we provide recordings and update and do live lectures, is the live lectures recordings update these recordings. And the reason why we do it is because we don't want that, as a provider, we have not recorded these lectures once and then you are listening into this, which is a 5-year-old lecture, 3-year-old lecture, 2-year-old lecture. These are all refreshed every 12 weeks.
So they will going to use the same slide for the lecture purpose, or there will be different slides?
No, it will be the same slides. If we update, and again, a good question that you asked. So if I take you back to the cover page of the course, which shows as a table of content, why do you think this only is open and 2 other strategic management are hidden from you? Because the lectures have changed, the slides have changed, the content has changed. So this is the latest one that you're going to study. That is why those are not visible to you.
Okay.
So when we claim as a provider that you are studying something which is updated as of yesterday, I mean it, that it is as of yesterday. Other providers will not have this. We have not made, like you normally say, you do it, you make it once and then it keeps being used again and again and again and again. No, the course content changes sometimes, and we refresh and we keep teaching this time and again, so that there's a new perspective, new examples, new case studies, new, let's say, things related to the field are being discussed. There's no point in me discussing in leadership, for example, the Shell disaster or the BP disaster, which happened in the Gulf of Mexico in America in 2009, when the oil spill happened. So I won't be discussing a 10 years or 15 years old example. I will not be discussing examples of Steve Jobs here, who's passed away in 2012, but there'll be discussions on new leadership of examples. And that is where the refreshing of the content essentially happens.
Okay, I got the point. Yeah, no, I got the point.
Good stuff. Now, just very briefly showing you the process of how we do assessments and how do we give feedback. So if I show you one particular unit, and if I show you, say, one particular example of feedback, what you're going to see is I'm going to have to show you the full screen here. But the reason I want to show you the full screen is because it gives you a perspective in terms of how we mark and provide you feedback on the assignment. So let me just quickly share that for a minute. Now, when you submit your assignment, so this is a Word document that you've submitted, which is one of the units called Advanced Strategic Research Methods. Now, when you submit this assignment to us, assuming this was the assignment which was submitted by the learner, what has happened is that when we do the marking of this assignment, we give you some comments on the right-hand side here, as you can see. Whether the work is correct, whether the work is meeting the criteria, not meeting the criteria. Okay, there are some commenting which has been done here. And the commenting being done here is to assess the standards at which the work is required to be presented by the awarding body.
Okay.
Okay, so for every assignment that you submit to us, you are going to get this annotated feedback, which will come to you from the lecturer, or in this case, it will be sent to you by Aman. And when you get this, it shows you that your work has been thoroughly checked and marked. Okay. This is not going to be visible on your phone. This commenting, because this is the review part and it needs a full screen. So you might not be able to see this on your phone and tablet. You might have to open it on a PC, Mac, or a laptop, because commenting otherwise will just be visible as speech bubbles, but you won't be able to see the comment. Okay. Now, this is how the feedback is provided. Now, if we do feel that in places the feedback is in places the material that you've submitted is not meeting the criteria, then the feedback will tell you exactly what is required to be done and how it requires to be changed or amended so that you can meet the criteria.
Sorry, Raman, the point is that, for example, every time whether I passed or there's some amendment needed in the assignment. So these, what should I say?
Assignments?
Feedbacks will come or not?
Yes, they will come. Yes. So what
whether I passed or there is a there is amendment needed, the
yes,
feedback will come.
Yes, every time. So what will happen is, generally speaking, if there is too much back and forth, that means if you submit an assignment and then we give you commenting and then you resubmit it back and you have still not met the criteria or it's still not meeting the required pass status, then generally what we'll do is we'll do a Zoom discussion with you like I'm doing right now. And what we'll do is verbally discuss, visually discuss the feedback with you rather than doing back and forth.
Okay.
The second part would be that if this is to happen, then the quality manager picks it up saying that, okay, I'm here or the learner is somewhere here. I'm talking here and learner is talking here or somewhere like this. So we are not on the same plane. So what we are going to do is not do that iterative process, but actually fix up a time with you and do a quick 5, 10, 15 minute, 20 minute, half an hour Zoom call to get this sorted and get to understand where is the parts which are missing. And this document, which becomes a working document, goes back and forth. So every time you get this back, you're going to make changes on the same document rather than starting again from the fresh. No, because we made the comment. And if you add anything to the, say, for example, if I mentioned that, okay, here in this case, what you've done is you've not mentioned what is your, say, sampling, data sampling techniques, assuming, just as an assumption. You've not mentioned. So what I would do is basically put a comment here saying that include data sampling techniques like questionnaire, survey or interview. Which one have you used, and include that as an annexure. So what I've done is I've given you a detailed feedback to say that you need to mention this and include either one of them. So you exactly know when you look at the document, what do I need to do? Okay, I need to put in a questionnaire of 10 questions of how have I collected the data. Or if I need to have a survey, if I've done a Facebook survey or a LinkedIn survey, then I put the questions of that or a link to it here, and that would meet the criteria. Now, if you put this as, assuming you add some context to it, what we then expect you to do is highlight that in yellow. So when you submit the document back to us, anything which is highlighted as yellow, or in this case, as it's showing green, is basically saying that, yes, now you have addressed my comment, and the assessor can actually see that the feedback I've given has now been addressed because you have highlighted the additional text in yellow, and that would help you pass this assignment. So this becomes a working document which goes back and forth without any changes, and all the changes are saved onto this. And this is then presented to the external examiner to say that, okay, the assignment was submitted, the feedback was given, and the learner has appended and made changes to the work, and now the assignment is a pass.
And all these back and forth is happening through email, right?
Through email, yes.
Okay.
And this back and forth happens only once or twice. It doesn't happen more than that, because if it has happened more than once, then the idea would be Aman or Jeel will give you a time and they'll say, I'm fixing up a tutorial with the tutor. That would be best discussed on Zoom rather than on emails, so that you can get the hang of it and get it done and get it closed.
Okay.
Is that okay? Now,
okay.
Once assuming everything is fine, I'm not going to save this, everything is fine, you've met your criteria, how do you get a confirmation that your work is now passed? And what is the proof that you have? This is a front cover or an assessment sheet that you are going to get every time you send the work in to us, and that would confirm that the unit has now passed. Okay, it will be signed off by the assessor, and that would clearly say why you passed this unit. And this is your record that, yes, the unit has been passed.
Okay.
Okay, so two things that you get back every time when you submit the assignment. One is your assessment sheet or marking sheet, and the second is your annotated feedback document for your records and safekeeping.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it.
And this process will happen 6 times at least, because you are submitting 6 assignments for the individual units to complete the course.
Okay.
Good stuff. Now, if I take you back to what we had drawn up as a brief agenda in terms of our discussion, I think I have covered now pretty much everything which I wanted to look at as far as the the course induction is concerned. So we've discussed a bit of a detail on study plan. We've looked at days that you can attend lectures so that it will help Jill to do scheduling for the sessions. You know the key members in the team. You also know where to submit assignments, which is at Learner Work at UK Versity. And then should you have any issues or problems, you can get back related to systems on admin and individually on, say, recordings or tracking your progress and assignment feedback to Aman. And then obviously tutors will be in touch with you through the WhatsApp group. Although we do not write too many emails, but sometimes what will happen is that you are going to get emails from individual tutors as well if you raise individual queries with them regarding the session or maybe the content that they are teaching. Okay, you've seen a copy of how you would receive the diploma. It's electronically verifiable, and you will get an email directly from OTHM. You are registered on the course already, so you should be able to get access to everything in terms of the course material. Now, in our case, I also want to mention that we use a very advanced system, right? So when I look at using the system, we have a CRM in place, and that CRM allows us to see everything that you are doing. You know, whether you opened an email, whether you've deleted an email, whether how many times you've clicked on the email, how many times you've gone to the website. So when you speak to us or any of us in the team, it is not going to be a case wherein, they will start, okay, hello, who are you? What is your registration number? Or, what course are you doing? No, everybody knows that you are enrolled. Everybody knows when did you start the course. Everybody knows your details, all the documents, and we are going to start from speaking to you to solve the problem if you've called us or if you've spoken to us. Is that okay?
Okay, Raman.
So you are in very good hands as far as the course is concerned, as far as teaching and learning is concerned. We are not a new kid on the block. We are very well established, and we do not leave any stone unturned to ensure that you'll have a good experience in terms of gaining knowledge, building skills, and also an overall good experience as far as study of the courses with us is concerned.
Agreed, Raman. That's actually that is a really good orientation session with you. Actually, when I saw this login details and all these information that has been available in this portal, I was a bit stunned to see that that's too much. But you have briefed me in a very good manner, so now I am a bit comfortable.
That's great. And I think that's the whole idea of having this session, is to ensure that you are, after this session, feeling 100% confident that you know how things will work, how the course will be delivered. People in the team, because I know there are lots of providers out there. They have no face on the website. There is nobody that you can get in touch. All the interaction is through email, but we are unlike them. And that is where I think the main important point for me is that this is something which is a start. So you're going to see pretty much everything following through when it happens in far as sessions are concerned. And this is the building in which we are, which is a huge office complex. And we are on the 4th floor of this particular building. And there is lots of other, offices and others. But we obviously, because we are a college, we are based here, and it's central in Manchester. So everything that we have shown is realistic. Everything that we would do would be by the process and make sure that you are able to, achieve the objectives that you are doing the course with us. So you're not going to be left on your own to do this. You're going to be in very good hands, and you can reach us at any point in time regarding any problems, any issues, because sometimes I feel it's best to discuss, ask questions. If you don't ask, you don't get. And the idea here would be to ensure that you have a very good knowledge in terms of what is the course going to be and how it's going to be delivered, how the material is organized and the sessions are going to be done, and how you would make progress so that you're able to confidently follow and complete the course. So I'll send you a copy of this recording just after this session. And, if you need to revisit anything, obviously you can do that. And then what we'll do is follow it up with what is called a schedule of these sessions, which are going to start from tomorrow, so that you are able to attend some of these sessions with us. If you don't, then you will have obviously copies of recordings. But the idea is, without wasting any time, we would get you started on the course.
Raman, one thing, what are the timelines, by the way?
So, there is total flexibility in terms of timelines. The reason I put it this way is that you're doing the course with us through distance learning. But at the same time, I know that you've shared with us that you are doing this for a particular reason. So timeline-wise, what we are looking at is ensuring that you're able to complete the full course with us in about 3.5, 4 months time maximum. Certification takes about a week from the time the last assignment is submitted, and we will keep a close track of it on a weekly, quarter, 15 fortnightly and a monthly basis. So obviously at the quarter, you have started with us on the first, say today with induction, you're looking at achieving your diploma, I would say just before Christmas, 21st, so that in January you're able to catch the top-up deadline for MBA. Okay. So there are 4 of you which are doing this for the MBA in this group, and I know clearly who they are. So obviously we are going to keep you on track in a way, let's say not forcibly, but going to keep a very close tab on you so that you're on track as far as the completion is concerned.
I got the point. So somewhat I need to submit all these assignments by 15th of September, 15th of December, or somewhere 10th of December. Correct.
Yes. So more or less everything in terms of the course would be completed by 10th to 12th of December. We'll probably have a visit around the end of second week. And then here, because of Christmas break, we normally have most offices, everything closing, around the 21st, 22nd of December. So we'll make sure that everything is done beforehand so that you're able to get everything in hand for before the Christmas holiday.
Yeah, you're right. So yes, fine. So I have the complete idea and understanding. So that's all. So if I need any question or anything else, I will contact the team. So that's all.
You can reach me, you can reach Aman, you can reach Jill, and we'll be able to support you throughout the course of your learning with us. Obviously, I'll get to meet up with you during the lectures as well. But apart from that, anytime, any query, any question that you have, feel free to write to us, and we'll get back to you straight away.
Thank you, Raman.
No worries, Imran. Thank you so much for joining this session. I'll send you a recording, copy of this recording just after a couple of minutes, and then the schedule should follow maybe before the close of play today, so that you're able to start from tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Brilliant. Take care. Thanks for joining.